Hi guys, it's Izzy, and in today's video I am going to be doing my August wrap up. This feels a bit weird because I haven't filmed in a while. I had surgery like 2 weeks ago and I haven't been well enough to film, but I am trying it out today, so that's fun. I've missed it. I need to talk about books. It's required for my health. So that is what we are going to be doing today. We are going to be doing my August wrap up. Now you may be thinking, wow Izzy, last month you read 24 books. So what did you read this month? Like 15 books, 16 books? No, I read 7. Yes, that is quite a drop. We have dropped by like over 2/3. But like I said, had surgery, so I haven't really been well enough to read, so my reading's been kind of slow. Yeah, I had surgery on the 20th, so I haven't really read much since then. I've listened to a couple audiobooks, but yeah, only 7 books were read this month, but that's okay. That's still quite a few books, and some of them are great, so that's exciting. I think we'll go in order of what I read this month, I guess. I tried out star ratings. Not sure, we're gonna go in order this month, but who knows, we can get crazy. However, I am confident I'm gonna have a much better September because I'm currently filming this on the 4th of September and I've already finished 2 books and I'm almost done with 2 more books. So we're on a roll. I am having surgery for the 2nd time on September 13th, so that probably will slow it down a bit again, but I'm hoping to get quite a lot of reading done before then to compensate, so yeah. Technically the first book I finished this month was a reread of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Don't know why I felt the need to read this, but like, why not read Harry Potter? That's the real question. So yes, I reread Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Do I need to give it a star rating? No, it's 5 stars. Where's the shock there? 5 stars. I love it. Don't need to tell you what it's about. Don't need to explain why I love it. I just do. Don't we all? So yes, I had the urge to reread Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, so I did, and it was great and I loved it. And I think the first book isn't my favourite because there's a lot of relationships and a lot of characters that aren't obviously established in the first book because, you know, Harry Potter is just entering the wizarding world, so he's like learning his way. But I actually really enjoyed this reread of the first book. I think I actually don't reread the first one as often as I do reread the later ones, so I actually really enjoyed rereading this and just transporting myself back to the beginning, and I had a great time. And I might reread 2 and 3 on the run up to the 4th illustrated edition coming out, so then I can read that. Do I need an excuse to read Harry Potter? No. Am I gonna do it? Probably, yeah. I have all the illustrated editions, but they're too heavy for me to hold up, so we're having this one. The next book I finished was also another reread. I reread a lot of books this month. I was sad. I needed my comfort books, but this wasn't a comfort book, but I did this for a video. I reread Throne of Glass by Sarah J Maas. This book follows Selena Sardothian, who is an assassin, and at the start of the book she is in a prison which most people don't get out of alive, but one day the prince and the captain of the guard come and take her out of this prison and take her to the castle where she competes to be the king's champion in a competition for assassins. Get me honest, sounds better than it is. The premise sounds more exciting than it actually is. I originally read this I think in like 2015 or 2016, and I reread it this time via audiobook because I wouldn't be able to get through this again. I gave this 2 stars. I just don't think it's interesting enough. I talked more about it in my reading vlog for Crown of Midnight, but I reread this in preparation for reading Crown of Midnight, so I did talk about some of my thoughts on this, but overall I just think it's boring. A competition should make for a really exciting plot, but in all honesty I was just bored to tears. But I was reading it with the purpose of reading Crown of Midnight, because I didn't remember anything that happened in this, so I knew if I went into Crown of Midnight without having read this I would be very lost. Next book I read was Caraval by Stephanie Garber. I buddy read this with the lovely Pamela from My Bookish Journey. I'll leave her channel down below. I had a great time buddy reading this. I think it kind of helped me get through it a little bit towards the end. I have mixed feelings about this book. Kind of hard to explain. Just read it, I guess. It's a really hard book to summarise. Maybe I should just read the blurb. Once a year, the infamous Master Legend hosts Caraval, open only to those who have been invited. This year, the week-long game is on Legend's glittering Isla de los Sueños, butchered that, where the winding streets are an elaborate snow-covered maze and the people are never who they seem. At midnight on the first day, the show begins and the visitors become players. Each of them is vying for the coveted prize, a single wish. All they must do is unravel the mystery of Caraval, but in a game where danger hides behind every charming smile, winning isn't without loss and their wish might be their last. So that explains it better than what I explained it as. But yeah, I had mixed feelings about this. Both myself and Pablo had pretty similar feelings on it, so felt validated. But I really liked the start of this book. Not quite the start of it because it was a little bit tropey, but I wasn't minding it, especially like when they first got to Caraval. I was so intrigued. I thought it was really whimsical, really intriguing, really exciting, and it definitely made me want to keep reading. I was like, oh, that's the end of my section, but I kind of want to read more. But yeah, it was a really strong start, but I think there were some issues with stakes and plot twists that she just never really committed to a lot of stuff. She would make you think something was one way, but then she would just like take it back. And I don't mind if a plot twist is sort of misunderstood and then you find out it was different and like you just didn't get it the first time. That's fine. But just like time and time again, every plot twist was just not the plot twist. So that really got my nerves. Like, it drove me insane because I was just like, oh, this is good, and then it just wasn't. So yeah, that really irritated me and kind of ruined the book for me a little bit. It was also a little bit tropey, which again I didn't mind at the start when like the plot itself was so intriguing and I was enjoying the book aside from the tropes. But once it got to the point where I was just being really annoyed by the plot itself, and then it was also tropey, it got a little bit much. So I think I gave this like a 3.5 stars. I was really sad because, to be honest, when I started it I genuinely thought it was going to be a 5-star. Like, I was so interested. But yeah, it dropped. I do plan on reading the second book, but yeah, because the last like chapter got me kind of intrigued again. So yeah, mixed feelings, but I'm like glad I read it. So if you were interested, I wouldn't dissuade you from picking it up, but it wasn't as good as I had hoped. I then read one of my new favourite books, and that is Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha Nagan? Not 100% sure. Sorry, Natasha. But blown away by this book. I'm so glad I have the beautiful like hardcover because I love it and I love this edition, so it worked out real great for me. But yes, this book follows our main character Lei, and she lives in this magical world where the king rules over like everywhere. He's conquered everywhere, he's fought a lot of wars, he owns like all the land basically, and he controls everything. And they live in a world where there are 3 class systems. The top are they called moon castes? There's 3 different castes. I can't remember the names of them. Oh my god. And it doesn't say it on the blurb. This is irritating me, but the bottom is the paper caste, who are just like regular humans. I can't remember the middle caste, but basically they're half demon and half human, so they're definitely higher up in society than the paper caste. But the top caste is the moon caste, who are fully demon. So They are kind of human, but they look like animals, kind of. They're like in the middle. It's weird, but it works. So yes, the king is a full demon, and basically every year he chooses 8 paper girls who are his like concubines. They have to like sleep with him, and yeah, he controls them and rapes them and sexually assaults them, etc, etc. It's a pretty hard book. I do appreciate that there is not really any graphic sexual assault. There is one graphic scene, but it focuses more on Leia and how she's feeling rather than on the specific act so much. So it's not too graphic, although if you are sensitive to sexual assault, massive trigger warning, I would probably steer clear from this book. But if you're not triggered by it, I don't think it was too much. Obviously it's a very difficult subject, but I think it was handled very well. Natasha herself is a survivor of sexual assault, so I think she handled it well. But this book is so good. Basically, Leigh is at this palace for the majority of the book, and she is kind of figuring out how she can fight back in any way that she can. And Leigh is like one of my new all-time favourite characters. She's so wonderful. She's so brave and optimistic and such a fighter, and she's so kind and loyal and smart. She's just so good. But she's also very scared and has a lot of fears and isn't like, oh, this is fine, like I'm so brave. Like, she's scared, and obviously as she should be, and I think that made her seem more human. There is also a female-female romance in this, which was so good. I was here for it. It's definitely one of my new favourite relationships, and I'm so excited for Girls of Storm and Shadow? Girls of Storm and something. I'm so excited for the second book. I need it now. I cannot wait for the second book. I think it comes out in like November. I'm so excited. I love this book. If you've had it on your TBR for a while, which I have, I've wanted to read it for so long, and I got it for my birthday in May, and I'm so glad I picked it up. It was just so fantastic. I just wanted to be reading it all the time. It did take me a while to get through, but that was just because I was busy, not because I didn't absolutely love this book. And yeah, it was just fantastic. 5 stars. Easy. I loved it. And also I found out Natasha, who is the author of this book, has the same condition and chronic illness as I do, which just made it even better. If it could get better, it got better, and she's wonderful. And yeah, everything about this is great. I love Natasha, love this book. Chef's kiss. So good. I am then just going to quickly talk about Crown of Midnight by Sarah J Maas, because I did a whole reading vlog on this. I ended up giving this 3.5 stars. I definitely enjoyed it a lot more than the first book. This one had a much more gripping plot. I was definitely wanting to pick it up. I didn't feel like it was too much of a slog to get through. Wasn't a big fan of the romance and sort of the relationships. That wasn't what I really liked about this book, but I did really enjoy the plot. I think it was really well done, and I really enjoyed Crazy Selena for the part that we had it for. That was peak Selena, loved that, thoroughly enjoyed that. And yeah, kind of problematic with the whole person of colour thing. Don't want to give spoilers, I'm pretty sure everyone knows, but yeah, not great, not a good move at all. But I do think this was definitely better than the first book, and I may potentially read the third book if I like find it on audiobook or something, but it's not high on my priority list. The last 2 books I read were rereads, and I read Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin Elire Sands. I probably butchered that, but what can you do? This book follows our main character Aristotle as he meets Dante when they are 15, I believe, and they become best friends, and it chronicles their relationship as they sort of transition from teenagers to adults. It looks at Aristotle's relationship with his family. His dad suffers severely from PTSD from the war, and his brother is in jail, and yeah, it talks a lot about familial relationships. Aristotle is also Mexican and so is Dante, so it talks about kind of Dante doesn't feel Mexican enough and what it means to be Mexican and how they feel about that. I think it takes place in the 90s, the 80s, I can't remember when it takes place, but it takes place a little while ago. And yeah, I gave it 5 stars. I originally read this in 2017, I believe, and I loved it then, and rereading it again now, still love it. It's a fantastic book. I love Aristotle and Dante so much. They're so sweet. I love them. They deserve the world. And yeah, I just love the angst, the kind of pining, the friends, the lovers. It's just definitely up my street. And the final book I read this month was Magnus Chase and the Sword of Summer by Rick Riordan. I am rereading all of Rick Riordan's books. I've read all of them at least once, most of them a lot more than that, but I am rereading every one of his books, which I own and have read because I'm the most Rick Riordan stan ever. Like, I should be the founder of his fan club at this point. But yeah, I'm rereading all of them so that I can do a video ranking every single Rick Riordan book, because that's my brand. So yeah, Magnus Chase and the Sword of Summer follows our main character Magnus Chase as he dies. That's not a spoiler, it happens like in the first chapter, but basically he dies, and because he dies a heroic death, he's taken by a Valkyrie and he becomes an Inhari in the Norse afterlife, basically. So it follows Norse mythology, and basically we follow Magnus as he tries to like rebind Fenris Wolf because he's going to escape. So yeah, as usual, Rick Riordan's books are filled with fantastic main characters, fantastic friendships, and just great side characters, hilarious scenes, a really great understanding of mythology in general. I absolutely love every single character in this book. Magnus, Samira, Blitzen, Hearth, all icons. We love them. I think they're all so good. I love everything about this series. It's probably my second favourite. I definitely like this more than the Trials of Apollo series. I just think this is a really, really solid trilogy, and I'm currently in the middle of the second book, and we get introduced to Alex, who I also love. Sad they're not in this book, but I love Alex. And yes, it's got great diversity, really, really great cast of characters. The rep in this, Samira wears a hijab and she prays, and she's very religious, even though she's also a Valkyrie for Norse mythology. She's also in an arranged marriage, well, she's going to be arranged marriage, but she actually really loves the boy and it's a really positive relationship. And Hearth is deaf, which is pretty good rep, could be better, but it's there, which is great. And in the second book we are introduced to a character named Alex who is gender fluid. They go by he, him, she, her, depending on the day and what they decide to identify as, which is really cool. And Magnus is actually homeless when we first meet him, so it covers a really wide variety of topics, really great conversations around all of them, and just a really fun book. And it's really funny, as is every book Rick Riordan writes, and yeah, I love it. It's great. So yes, those are all the books I read this month. Why is this so long? Can I shut up? No, it's because I haven't filmed in so long. I'm just like rambling because I just want to talk, because I can't shut up. Love that for me. So yes, let me know what your favourite book of August was. I would love to know. Mine was definitely Girls of Paper and Fire. I'm literally obsessed with this book. I love it so much. I can't believe I have to wait another like 2 months to read the second book because I'm so excited. But yeah, that was definitely my favourite book of the month. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. Thank you so much for watching. I have missed talking to you very much, and I will see you next time, which is hopefully going to be soon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!